Over the December 23rd meeting with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank you all for coming for maybe my last meeting. I'm sure that's why you're all here. And if not, I'll be here again, maybe next Monday. It depends on when we get through the bills today. But we'll open up the meeting today with recognition of guests. If somebody would like to be the spokesperson, I'm thinking this might be about mountain biking. I'd be more than happy to listen to your message.
Perfect timing. So, thank you. We've been here a couple of times. I think you generally know what the request from an investment standpoint for Ross County is. And just want to reiterate, it really is an investment in expanding the outdoor economy here in Ross County. So that includes all things that are recreation. So whether it's mountain biking or trail running or hiking, hunting, horseback riding, all these things really comprise what the outdoor economy might look like. And so what we've asked is for an investment in that. The strategy that we've asked for is to invest with an organization called Orca. They were originally based out of Athens. They have their mission and vision is certainly one that is regional, and that's been the case from the very beginning. They did get their start in Athens. They've been able to prove their prowess in getting grants, getting funding. They put $9.1 million of actual capital investments in Athens County. It's a bike optimized mountain bike riding area. Eventually, in the next couple of years, once they complete another 20 miles, it'll be the largest bike optimized park east of Mississippi. So certainly they've been able to prove what they can do. That's been our proposal. The thing that I will say is, and you can see it by just the people here in the room, there's been a lot of support, a lot of community support. I'm humbled by that. I think someone very intelligent said this has given us hope in what the community and our ability to come together and really to try to make an investment in something that really raises the bar for Ross County. So that's really the intent here. I think you know the details of it. I did want Isabella to just speak a little bit about a recent community input that we've received, because it really does quantify some of the things that I just referenced. And I wanted to thank Isabella as well.
I'd like to say one thing before Isabella speaks. I've let this go, Ty, pretty much like a mountain man. And you trimmed yours up, so I'm a little disappointed in saying that.
I thought you looked like Sam.
When you were in school, you thought I looked like a lot of things.
Santa wasn't one of them.
More than one word, too, wasn't it? Isabella, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're plenty fine. I mean, 'tis the season for Santa, so I'm all for it. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank all of you guys for hearing us out here. And, we really heard you last Monday when you had spoken on how do you market this to the citizens and what do the citizens think of this initiative. And so all week, everybody here has been reaching out to our communities, whether that's at the coffee shop, through Buck 50, mountain biking, trail running, the Night Runners Collective, running club. Like, we're all here because we all believe that outdoor recreation and investing in trails, not just mountain biking trails, but all trails, are going to be a huge, huge impact to our community. And so I had put together a little PowerPoint, but I don't think you guys received it. So if you like paper copies, I can give it to you. But I wanted to highlight the results of our petition that we put together. It was kind of, only a 48-hour turnaround between when we submitted it. So we gave it out on social media on Friday night. And in that time, we received over 443 respondents. Of those 443 respondents who signed, yes, I would like to see Ross County invest in Orca, 318 of them were Ross County citizens, and 125 of them were in surrounding areas or, quite frankly, all across the country and even the world. This petition was hosted by Jotform, and so all signatures were verified. We asked for first name, last name, and zip code to verify identity. Emails and comments were optional. And so, as I mentioned, 443 people said, yes, we would love to go forward, and I would love to highlight some of the big comments and most impactful comments that were written down. One of the best parts of our county is the amazing recreational opportunities. The more we can expand those opportunities, the better the lives will be for those in our communities. It will be a wonderful addition with World Heritage, as most visitors who seek out those spots are avid outdoors people. Brittany Greenwald, Chillicothe, Ohio. The running community continues to grow in Ross County, and this would be an amazing opportunity to promote fitness in our area. James Stengel, Chillicothe, Ohio. Ross County is an outdoor gem that deserves good funding and proper trail management. Kane Whistler, Chillicothe, Ohio. My family often visits this hometown of mine nearly every weekend. We would love to see some more recreational activities to enjoy during our stays. Jamie Justice, Mount Ora, Ohio. I travel regularly from Wales to visit Ohio. I always look forward to mountain biking on the trails with friends. These are wonderful big facilities, and their development and maintenance should be supported financially. Can't wait until my next visit. Sign-on, Pries, Wales, UK. The last comment I would like to say is, as Chillicothe grows, it's important we continue to invest in what makes our town so special in the first place. It's incredible opportunities for outdoor recreation. Not only will these investments contribute to the health and well-being of Chillicothe's families, but also to the budding tourism industry that has been surging since Hopewell Mountain Group's destination as UNESCO World Heritage Site. I fully endorse this initiative and hope to see it come to fruition in the near future. Thank you for your consideration. Maxwell C. Witter, Chillicothe, Ohio. I think that these results have been outstanding. I mean, I told everyone in this room that if we got even 100 signatures, I would be amazed, and instead we got 443. I have printed off every single signature, name, email address, and comment. I can circulate this to you via paper and also an email. But I really want to emphasize that the community is behind this initiative, and we really do want trails to see our county expand. Thank you.
You guys know me. I'm here for a little bit different reason today other than some property, but I unfortunately didn't hear about this until just like the last 48 hours. I wish I would have known a little bit more about it, so I could have brought some more people or guests with us today to discuss this and show support. We really got to know Ty McBee, Scott Cormany over the years with the Buck 50 and the trail initiatives they've had with Chillicothe Trails. And I think most people don't understand or realize that most of the trails in this area outside of the Parks District is maintained by volunteer support. So whether it's repairs or clearing trees, that's all done on a volunteer basis. I recently had the chance to go down to visit the Bailey's Trail System in Athens, which I'd heard a lot about. And I was really kind of blown away by the systems that they had, the signage that they had. And from a guy who, built something on a volunteer basis and then finally started making a few dollars through the Buck 50, I can appreciate the fact that our work and initiative to develop this natural resource that we have in these hills does take, time and money. And I think that, these guys have carried the ball as far as they can, but on Monday morning, they got to go back to work. So I would love to see, the commissioners invest in Orca to help develop this Southern Ohio system of trails and infrastructure that we need. I mean, we had, two of the biggest posts I've seen these guys have is number one, when they did a trail building day up at Ohio University Chillicothe late in April. And that post had like 120 likes. It got shared 13 times and had 28 comments. And the bigger post that they've had was just on Friday when they shared about this initiative of partnering with Orca. And that post got shared 60 times. And to me, to have such a short period of time and those people like a share is a lot more like, I'm passionate about this. I want to see this happen. This is important to me. Please see what's happening. And that's probably where a lot of these 400 signatures came that Isabella has mentioned. So this thing needs to happen. We already have the infrastructure from a restaurant breweries, coffee shops, shopping. What I think the next thing that Ross County needs on a tourism side is to develop the trails that will then partner those two things together and be not only great economically, but, you know, most importantly, from a health and wellness standpoint. You know, the $150 gets a lot of credit because we've invested $885,000 into drug prevention, but we've also created a lot of runners through health and wellness. And I don't think that a community's health and wellness should ever be overlooked, because it drives everything from employment to healthcare to well-being. And I just think this is another avenue that we can take advantage of the great natural resources that we have. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. You're good.
All right.
Go for it.
My name is Trent Fannin. This is my wife Hillary back here. We own Roast Coffee here. We're transplants. We moved here in 2016. We're not original Chillicothe natives at all, but we've had a lot of friends from here over, you know, growing up over the years. My wife's best friend married a guy from here. That's kind of what got us traveling to Chillicothe. And ultimately, as we started our business in Columbus, started attracting and kind of getting our attention to investing in this community. Ultimately, we did open up our first location in 2016 on 2nd Street. And naturally, we expanded and built our new location on the corner of Mulberry and 2nd at the Fort Collective, and opened up there 2 months before the pandemic. So it was a wild time. But I say that to say, this is home. We moved here with 2 children. We've had 2 since. Our business has succeeded ever since we've moved here. Our family has succeeded. Our relationships, our community, friends, it's all went in the right direction. This is home. We can't imagine being anywhere else other than Chillicothe. Having said that, our goal is to create a Chillicothe for our children that is better than maybe what we would have had growing up here. Investing in the systems that we already have in play is kind of a no-brainer. Creating safe places and proper infrastructure based off of the natural elements that we have here, again, is a no-brainer. There's communities all over the world that are doing this. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We just want to take what we have naturally and expand upon it to capture all of the elements from an economic standpoint, from a health standpoint. Dave hosts one race a year, and that race brings in that exact target demographic that we're talking about, that bike, that run, that utilize these parks and trails. That one race alone, that weekend alone, is one of our biggest business weekends of the entire year. So from an economic standpoint, from a local investor standpoint, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. We see the results of bringing in that demographic. You know, like I said, the ingredients are here. We have an existing infrastructure that we can fine tune, that we can hone and really capture and take this place to the next level that will translate into economic growth, into, I think, attracting the narrative that we have of being attracted to Chillicothe, wanting to move here, wanting to invest here. That narrative will continue to grow. You know, coming into here, you know, the negative stigmatisms and stereotypes that you hear about Chillicothe, this and that, they were there, but we had enough friendships, we had enough relationship, we had enough experiences where we knew something different, and our experience has been something different than those negative things that are oftentimes too loud. And that is worth building on. That's been my wife and I's goal ever since we've been here, and ever since we've grown our family here and grown our business here. Is no, there's more to Chillicothe. And a big part of that is these trail systems. A big part of that is attracting this demographic that want to come here and spend money and spend time here and invest in this community. And again, I appreciate your time, and my story is not necessarily unique, but I wanted to share it because it's worth investing in. It's attracted businesses, and it's attracting families. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Trent. I appreciate that. I like your business too. I fruit one down there, but if you put a little more sugar in the tea, I'd really like it. But I know you're trying to keep things healthy.
Yeah.
But thanks.
I'd like to say something. My name is Jubal Davis Sr. I like to refer to myself as the original. He's the refined.
Well, I'm gonna get you guys mixed up the other day, but I've got it straight. Say the resemblance.
I've been here for quite some time. I was a hooligan in the past.
No, you wouldn't, you was okay.
Things change. Anyway, so I've been here, good and bad, but opened a shop in 1989 called just north of Daytona, and ran a very successful business, went from Main Street to Main Street. During that time, this guy wasn't around, and he popped up, and he was at my side the whole time. So he was basically raised in Chillicothe. We had a successful time. We helped build trails. We helped with the skate park. And done different activities for the community to be a part of, and be, not just watch, but be a part of it. Through the years, 2010, things changed up for me. I had an opportunity to move to Denver, Colorado. Went there, managed a shop. I was general manager of a high-end shop in a high-end neighborhood. Ran that for 10 years. But during the time that I was there, I actually seen how the infrastructure and how important that the recreation was for the community. Most neighborhoods in that area, Denver and surrounding, when they start building a new neighborhood and expanding, one of the very first things that they do is bring in recreation, being a bike park, which is also either has a dog park attached to it, and or of course running trails or hiking trails. Everybody uses this. That's the very first thing that they do. And if you go to Denver and look at their website, you'll see all these little pockets of recreation in the green space. So when I seen that and see how active the cycling industry was out there, people move to Denver, Colorado for a reason. And that is because they're healthy, they want to get out and enjoy the outdoors. And they have made it accessible to everybody. Everything from 3-year-old kids to grandpas. And they're out there doing it together. Things changed there for me. I came back to Ohio to be with my dad as he aged. And I seen the need to open up a shop. So we opened up a shop. It's called Cyber Valley Cycle. During that time, my son actually got on with a company called Yeti Cycles, and he traveled the world. Was on a team, lived in New Zealand, and he chose to come back to Ohio and do what he's doing. And I'm still doing the bike thing. I live out on Delano Road. I have my shop there, close to Great Seal. And what's happened is that recreation has changed our lives from hooligan to let's take and tame this and make it a family activity. And that family activity has really evolved in my role and made me who I am, and brought this guy into it also. And we just want to see the change. And you can see from a little tiny kid riding off Main Street to New Zealand, and us still doing the same thing. We have this voice family. The one strand that kept us together through the years was cycling. That was even through the teen years, it was always our common strand. That's it.
I like a man that loves his dad.
Anyone else like to make any comments?
I would like to. So my name is Julie Montgomery. I'm representing the Ignite Runners Collective, which we are Chillicothe's fastest growing running group. My husband and my best friend, Molly Day, created this 2 years ago because a runner in Memphis, Eliza Fletcher, was murdered during her regular morning run on the campus. And we decided to create something to promote safety and utilize the community that's here, which has grown from our first meeting at 50 West was a group of 8, and now we average over 30 on our Tuesday night runs at 6 p.m. at 50 West. You probably know us. We've grown from 1-day week runs to 7 days a week. We utilize the city streets. Yeah, we also have even people in this group, and even some of the people that did testimonials are part of our group. We've grown to over
Are
seven
you
hundred
referring to the running group or the biking group?
running group.
I'm a runner. I'm not
Some of them
like-
are even on the biking group though.
I've seen this biking group go through Chillicothe where I don't think it's ever gonna end.
That's that's the Monday group.
Okay.
We're the Tuesday, we're the Tuesday at 6 p.m. group. But yeah, we have over 700 members on Facebook. And that's organic, because I control those numbers that are on there. We've united Circleville, Athens, Jackson, and our people are out there on the trails. We've kind of attracted organizations, like we have our runners run in the Buck 50. We do the Chillicothe like half marathon. We have Run Fluent, who creates these wonderful races that utilize Great Seal. And so we have our people out there and we know those trails. So it's extremely important to have those new trails out there and to embrace those. I mean, Great Seal is on the Seal of Ohio. And the community's here. I mean, we are part of those bikers, we're part of those cyclists. Our children are out on the trails. They utilize the Storybook Trail at Buzzard's Roost. So we too think it's extremely important to invest and get us out there for the health and the safety. Because I mean, our people are on the streets, we've dodged the cars, we've been stalked. And we need safe places to run. And we're your citizens, your teachers, your nurses, marketing coordinators, lawyers.
Thank you. I think I've been an advocate of people being healthy. Scott probably remembers when I was at USSR in China, Western Civilization, World Geography, and Physical Education, Science, and Driver's Education. And my PE classes, I did the exercises that the kids had to do. They were squat thrusts, I was doing squat thrusts. I ran a lot. I had my hips replaced in 2015 and 17. And I can remember the doctor asking me, are you going to run anymore? And I said, hell, I haven't run for 30 years, so I'm going to start now. But during that period of time where I could run, I loved running. And cycling, I loved to bicycle. I loved to take the trip to Frankfurt and come back before the slips happened on the trail out there.
We're getting on there.
I know you are, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate what the Appalachian Initiative brand is helping with that process also. So I agree with you. It's important to stay healthy. And the longer you stay active, the longer you're going to live a healthy life. So I do appreciate what the message is. I think we all do. It comes down now to the cost and the responsibility of coming up with the amount of money to go into this. Ty and I have talked. I think it's good for Ross County, but then again, it has to be a joint decision between all the commissioners. David being new coming onto the board of commissioners starting in January, that has to be an important thing that they're looking to move forward with. So I think your input, Isabella, the information that you're bringing is an instrument and a tool to help the commissioners make a decision, a wise decision on how they want to move forward. And I agree with you. Chillicothe is a great place. I've lived in Wisconsin. I've lived in Austin, Texas, but I live in Chillicothe. This is where I want to be. I've heard the bad things about Chillicothe, usually about the smell more than anything else. But about the drugs and the homeless. But I don't see that the way other people want to portray us. Go to Columbus, go to Wilmington, go anywhere else. You're going to find the same things, except people are now, when I go to Ivy's and places like that, people are coming in saying, I come here every weekend. We love to come to Chillicothe. We love to eat here. We love to hike, to go out to Buzzard's Roost, to go see the ceremonial burial mounds at Mount City. It does have a draw. There's a lot here to bring people to Chillicothe. So I understand what you're saying. I think we all do, and there will be a decision made. I guarantee you that. I can't tell you which way it's going to go, but I can tell you there will be a decision made.
I just wanted to say one thing too. My name's Miranda Vance. I'm the executive director of the Ross County Park District, and outdoor recreation is my life. It is what we do, but we do it for the citizens of Ross County. We're not actively involved in tourism. We don't have the capacity for a regional approach. But if we had an organization like Orca to support that part of it, what we could do together would be epic. It would be one more piece in the puzzle that's making Chillicothe the beautiful place that it is.
Thanks. I'm gonna be quiet for a second. I'll let the other commissioners speak, so, yeah, Scott, I'm sorry you're out of time. Go ahead.
I grew up just outside of Chillicothe, about 7 miles northwest of Chillicothe, on a family farm.
Bears on
Beers on Red. I've been here my whole life. And I've been fortunate to be able to use the trails. But I think we need more of them. I traveled the world. I've hiked Mount Kilimanjaro, hiked the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu, hiked 80 miles of the highlands in Iceland. And I see those places and, we could be that destination. We just need the investment. And you mentioned a cost. There's a cost to this, but I see it as an investment that could really grow our community.
Scott, have you done the Appalachian Trail?
I've done parts of it in every state, yes. I just need enough time off to do it in one fell swoop.
I understand that. How long is it? About 3 months?
Yeah.
I've done parts of it, but I haven't been going to Maine, from Georgia to Maine.
Yep.
So, thanks for your comments.
You be good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if you ever heard me talk in public, I very much for growing Chillicothe and inviting new things to the community, and certainly recreational and health is important as part of one of our outlooks in the comprehensive plan. I make decisions based on information, and everything, I've read every word of every letter that we received, and I hear you and I agree with you. The only thing I'm waiting for is a feasibility study. Do you have any timetable on that, or?
Me?
Yeah.
There's really not a timetable. We initiated some discussions with High University a number of months ago, but I don't have a timetable at this point.
Okay.
That obviously would be, the best information you could receive.
Yeah, I mean,
from ROI standpoint.
And that would make the business end of this is right along with the motion. And then I'm going to be calling Lenny Lyson, the commissioner of Athens County, and talk to him about how this worked out in Athens. And, I understand that things work or they don't work. There's individual reasons for that may not apply in another area. So none of those things really individually are going to sway me, but the feasibility study is important for me to come to a decision. And I think as far as we're concerned, it doesn't need to happen before we're done with budgeting this year. We can allocate funds from the general fund just to fund this. So it's not a race on our end to try and swing it in underneath the end of the year timeline. Is there a time limit you're up against?
So the only time limit concern, this goes back to some of our earlier discussions on Appalachian community dollars that potentially get reallocated to the bucket. And so when this discussion started, this was about putting together a design plan for Great CO for the mountain bike parks. That was a real specific kind of catalytic signature project that we wanted to make sure we had design plans so we were ready to go to bid if dollars became available. So right now we have conceptual plans for the trail park. We have design plans for some of the infrastructure like parking lot improvements and the campgrounds and those types of things, but we don't have the design plans. And so that's really, we need to be ready when funds do become available. And that's why, that's the only concern that I have is we don't have that design plan right now. It's conceptual.
And the investment from the county pays for part of that, or all of
That's correct.
that? Okay, gotcha. I understand.
It's one piece of it. The other element is just, it's kind of back to that who's working this on a daily basis. I can tell you, everybody in here probably has a day job. And I've got to experience this over the last 7-8 years. You know, we're emotionally connected to this. You've heard the stories. I mean, we obviously are very emotionally connected to this. We see the benefit both qualitatively and quantitatively. But we don't have an assigned presence working this on a day in and day out basis. We have elements of it. Ross County Park District does an amazing job. The tourism does an amazing job. Everybody's got a piece and part, but this is the piece that's missing. It's how do we think about this from a 30,000 foot level around how do we expand the outdoor economy? Right now, that's not a metric on anybody's dashboard. So I think that's the only other concern. You asked about feasibility study. Well, once we leave here, who's doing the feasibility study? So is it a volunteer basis, or we got to make the investment so that this is something that we put on the list to get a feasibility study? 100% agree. I've written 100 pro formas. I know how they work. But you need somebody working.
And you, doesn't sound like there was a negative voice in their low school of the
No.
48-hour survey. So
Not one bit, and I will give you guys the results. I mean, the comments that were written are incredible. I was absolutely floored by the amount of positivity people felt, and honestly, most of the people don't even talk about mountain biking at all. Like, they all just want more trails. I mean, we've talked about the idea of, years down the road of like connecting all of our amazing state parks we have in the area, like being able to go from Buzzards Roost to Great Seal in a safe way where you're not on a one-lane road. And I think that all of these elements are extremely impactful to the economy. Like we spoke about at last meeting, I mean, and the PDF that was circulated to you guys about the various cities across the United States that invest in outdoor recreation. I mean, outdoor recreation is an economy in and of itself, and I think it's a great way to diversify the way that the revenue comes in for the city. I mean, we have the paper mill, we have Kenworth, we have DuPont around here, but I don't see why outdoor recreation cannot be another form of revenue.
I still haven't made my mind up. It's tough for me to give that much of money. Somebody asked me already, somebody said to me about if we're gonna give $180,000. I wouldn't come from me, come from somebody else, $180,000 for a bike club. I tried to explain to them, it's not a bike club, it's for recreation, for everybody. I talked to a couple of people and stuff like that. They had nothing to do with bikes, riding bikes, mountain bikes, or anything like that. And they were just wondering, where we're going to get $360,000 for the next 3 years to pay for this. I'm still waiting on, like Jack said, I'm still waiting on somebody give me a study out of Athens about how much money they brought into Athens. Somebody, did this bring, it's not like the $1.50. We know the $1.50 brings money in. At the beginning, it probably did not make money. But we would like to take a look at it to see what's the economic income to Athens County. That's what I'm looking at.
I think the same naysayers would have said, don't give money to a running club for the $1.50, and then look what it turned into. So I think that's the request is from this group, is to have some vision of what it can turn into. It's an opportunity for you to educate that person that it's not a bike club, but it's actually an expansion of outdoor recreation. I don't know if it was covered before I walked in. I actually reached out to Logan County. They have geofenced the Mad River Mountain area, 250,000 visitors for that space, and that's seasonally dependent due to snow, and so this actually wouldn't be. So very comparable recreational activity outdoor in comparison to mountain biking and skiing. So I think more of that data is going to come in as we start to geofence other areas. But there is solid data out there to begin with that we could work on, and it would be applicable to this.
I agree with you in the fact that I'm surprised there's not a naysayer in your report, because there's always somebody who wants to throw
For sure.
a wrench in the monkey works.
Yeah, whether it's two-way streets on Second or.
Have you experienced that before?
No, I sat on that side of the road.
But nobody's gonna be happy about everything. That's just the way it works. We've all lived that as in education or city council or commissioners' positions. There's a point where a decision has to be made, and the decision is usually what we look at. The only reason I went into this business really was what is best for Ross County. And when I stopped looking at that, I should have never been in the job. So I've continued to try to think, what is best for Ross County? David, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I would. A couple things. First of all, I really appreciate everyone being here and voicing their thoughts. It's not really an easy thing to do, to come here necessarily and get up and speak and share your mind about something. I really like Jack said, I read every word of the letters that came to me over the weekend primarily, but since last Monday when you guys were here last. I recognize the importance of outdoor recreation. I'm going on a hike later today, or several miles in a Ross County State Park. And I've actually spent time myself doing trail maintenance here in Ross County and across the country. And I'd say outdoor recreation is a big part of my life. It's one of the reasons I live here. It's a beautiful place. I, like many of you, love this place. I'm caring about the next generation, as Trent said. One thing, Trent, you also said, though, was fine-tuning this thing. And I think to do what you all are trying to do justice requires a lot of good conversations. Almost every one of the letters that I spoke to, or that I read, spoke to the outdoor economy. That's language that was used today, tourism economy. And so I, as I shared with Ty I got into this a little later, but from very early on, from my perspective, is making sure that we have a really good collaboration. I hear that from the Parks District, but also when we think about tourism, what I don't want to have is a conversation about outdoor tourism and recreation, absent partnership from the organizations that are already doing a lot of that work, like the Visitors Bureau. I think that reinforces what you all are trying to do. I also want to recognize that there are a lot of ideas that come to the commissioners asking for opportunities for investment. I've sat here in the last 3 weeks while they've been doing budget hearings, and I applaud the commissioners for working really hard to meet a balanced budget. And they had to tell a lot of folks with a lot of good ideas, not right now. A lot of those were not related to outdoor tourism. Some of them were related to things that frankly probably aren't the space for the county to invest in. Some of them were. And so I think making that decision now today is probably premature just to fit it into the budget for 2025. But I'm very committed to this idea. Whether or not it's in Great Seal or elsewhere, like I see the opportunity that you all see, and I'm committed to it, and I think there's tons of opportunity for it. A lot of you are my friends. You know, Trent as a proponent, Mr. Geringer, Auditor Leonard has been a strong proponent for you all, and I hear what you're saying. First of all, I don't have a vote in the matter today, but I would actually offer myself as an assistant in helping you get in touch with the right folks to continue this conversation. Any grant opportunity is going to require letters of support. I actually was a part of winning a grant in Ross County at Great Seal to rebuild part of the infrastructure from the state. And that grant required a letter of support from the township trustees. It required a letter of support from the Visitors Bureau, from the county commissioners. And so I'd be glad to help offer and convene those things. For me to try to fit it into the 2025 budget when across the last 3 weeks, I've sat here and listened to budget cuts and budget cuts and budget cuts in order for a balanced budget. It's very difficult for me to endorse fitting this in right now within the 25 budget when I think there's just a little bit more conversation to have anyway. So I appreciate all of you. I'm not here to, to try and hide behind that. That's exactly how I feel. And I will always tell you all, as much as I truly believe what I feel. And so I'm here committed to help move the ball forward. But I just, for my part, if I were sitting up there, I wouldn't vote to support it today. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity to continue the conversation through what you all are doing and the conversations you're having. By the way, Isabel, I love those comments. I had the opportunity once to meet someone from who knows where in the UK while I was waiting in line at another downtown restaurant. I recognize the opportunity for outdoor tourism and just historic tourism in general in our community. And I really thank you guys for being here. And I like what you're doing.
I got to say 2 quick things. Number one, don't share your information with them until I get a chance to push that out, because I didn't really do that from our side. And I think we can really influence and increase those comments and information.
Like I said, it's only been 48 hours. I mean,
But
it's more than 48
Mark
hours.
Allen is a guy, Mr. Lowe and Jack, that you should talk to. He is a guy, I'll get you his contact information once I talk to Ty. But Mark Allen is a ODNR employee. He's who came to Chillicothe in April, I think it was April 27th, and helped establish the trail building situation that happened up at Ohio University, Chillicothe. Mark has traveled the country. He's been to Bentonville, Arkansas. He's been to the Carolinas. He's been to Colorado, where he has seen these trails and this economic thing like Jubal has talked about. But one thing he said that is extremely unique to Chillicothe is in all those other major tourism areas, like that's your data. Like those are the people that have done it. Those are the people who have succeeded from it. But those places built trails and then they built a community. They built the restaurants, they built the coffee shops, they built the bars, and then that all kind of came together for tourism. He said Chillicothe is unique in the fact that we have the restaurants, the downtowns, the infrastructure, the hotels, the bed and breakfasts. What we don't have is an elaborate trail system to support that same thing together. So I'll get you in contact with Mark. I'm sure he has some data that can share that can help you make a good informed decision.
You had your hand up.
Yeah, I just had one quick thing. I understand it's very mountain bike heavy to everyone's eyes, right off the first glance. But I talked to IMBA, International Mountain Bike Association, the head guy there, and he said that has been issues with some of the projects they've done in the past, but in all reality, the mountain bikers are the ones that are out there usually doing a lot of the footwork, a lot of the volunteering. They're the ones that are looking at the lay of the land and saying, oh, it'd be really cool to have a trail go this way. That's where a hiker, they're just out there enjoying the hike, so they're not necessarily, as they're hiking, looking at the lay of the land and thinking about building a new trail for everyone to use over here and things of that sort. And much like me and my partner, Nathan Skaggs, we have equipment, excavators, skid steers, things like that. And we've, as soon as the green tape or the green light went for up at OUC, we took our equipment up there out of pocket. You're talking serious money that we are just using our own. We're paying for the diesel, we're paying for the trucks to haul them, all out of pocket to go up there and clear the multi-use trail. That Ty can talk on this because he was part of it. That was some of the thickest brush I've ever seen. And it would have taken, honestly, probably an entire summer for volunteers to go up there and pick through that stuff. And we burned through it in a week with our equipment. Like I said, it costs money out of pocket and stuff, but typically mountain bikers are going to be the guys that are going out there and doing that. They're going to put forth their efforts without having their hand out for other things, and they have equipment, it's just, that's just kind of how that stuff works most of the time. So I understand it's mountain bike heavy, but mountain bikers are willing to go out there and put in the groundwork for everyone else to enjoy the trails.
Thank you.
You know, I think I'd like to leave with this. I don't look at things like this as an independent, everything to everybody kind of thing. This is a piece of a healthy living ecosystem that we're trying to put together. And if it appeals to mountain bikers, and I don't know if you can ski on these things during snow periods, or, I mean, just thinking about other uses perhaps, but
We'll ask you for the snowmaking machine later in another.
that'll be part of next.
That'll be next 2026.
What I'm saying is that it takes a lot of pressure off when this doesn't have to be all, do all kind of project. It's part of a bigger picture. And healthy living is what we're really focused on in Ross County. So I think if we look at it in that kind of scenario, it has a place. So we'll go forward, see what it has. The data will justify the decision and check from there.
I think the one thing, Ty, and you might have been involved in this about three and a half years ago. We received a lot of negative input on what we thought was going to be great for Ross County. Scenic rivers, kayakers, canoers to Ross County to make Paint Creek a scenic river. And that got poo-pooed real quick. I mean, nobody wanted that. I haven't heard it. Again, we'll go back to the negative part about the biking and the trails and the outdoor recreation. Nobody seems to be upset about that, which speaks volumes. I think the scenic rivers got thrown under because a lot of people were worried that the state was going to come in and take some of their property. And that was a concern. I don't think anybody's worried about anybody taking anybody's property other than the property that's already here to be used. So that's the true positive on this project. So, Ty, did you read, or is that Jeff?
I'd like to say two things. So first, you all know I'm an advocate for this in concept, if not necessarily totally in details, because details got to be worked out, and we all understand that. We're all professionals. So, I've had those conversations with many of you, but for the commissioner's part, two things. Number one, commissioners are absolutely right. If this is not something that's included as part of the 2025 budget, there's nothing that keeps it from being included a couple months down the line next year, because an appropriation can be made at any time. So I want you all to not be discouraged if the answer is not a yes on yes, it's in the budget as of today.
Right.
Because that could change in a short period of time. And the other part of that is that I think the commissioners are applying a level of due diligence and thoughtfulness on this that anyone in this room would expect and hope for in terms of spending public money. And so if you remove the personal connection to this that we all have in terms of we think this is a good idea and you replace it with something else, you would want commissioners to do this kind of due diligence, thoughtfulness, and really kind of examining the issue. So I applaud the commissioners for that. I hope you all have that same kind of attitude, because it is public money that we're talking about. So that's my take on this today.
Any other questions? I don't think it's going to be in the budget for this year. Unless, are we in agreement on that?
As the budget is going to stand at the end of the year.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, so, and Ty, you and I spoke 3 days ago, 2 days ago, maybe. I think, as Jeff just said here, that an allocation can be made January, February, March. That's some decisions made by the commissioners to move forward with this project. Again, I haven't heard any negative yet. The only negative I've heard is the cost of the money. The positive is it's great for the county and bringing people to Ross County and Chillicothe. And it may sound terrible, but there's a bed tax out there. There's restaurants bringing revenue to Ross County, hotels that people stay over. It's a great thing. It's a revenue builder, really, for the county. So I want to thank you all for coming in. I appreciate all the work that you've done. We appreciate all the work that you've done. Put putting your survey out there and getting the positive feedback is great. So, no other questions? Thank you. We appreciate your passion for this movement. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay if you like, or you're welcome to leave. It's your call.
No, I said, as I said, it was one of these things where, hey, Jim was riding motorcycle. I said, where is it? North on Main Street. I said, okay. I look up, I see a guy on his motorcycle, standing on the seat. He said, I probably will not bother him anymore.
Oh, no, it's, I'm sure your information is somewhere, but no, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for everything you've done. Congrats on retirement.
Appreciate that.
Appalachian Trail next.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you want me to go run with us at some time, you have walking.
I run every once in a while, but not that much. Get my bicycle out of the garage about, 4 or 5 times a year, and that's
On here. Don't know where the, do we know where the remote for the TV is?
I'll forget that. We was in South Carolina, we went, there was a group of us, there was my wife and 2 other couples, we did that place. So we did the southern part, the north, and then we're gonna go to the northern part, come down south. That way I can tell everybody, yeah, I went from the end.
You might be able to, if you guys don't know off the top of my head.
Kind of remarkable, like going out there and seeing like, these areas that we can do. Same thing with like, go on top of sugar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can remember going out when I was in Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, I think we went camping on top of sugar and stuff like that. On top of
Oh, yeah.
they give you a couple and said, here, figure it out. What good time.
But we wanted to introduce ourselves to like our Like all these people joining on like 50 teams and now like group and then maybe then you have like outliers coming in. So
Yeah. Let's think, we just think about membership on Facebook or that stuff.
And the thing is, it's not even, it's so long. We don't charge anything, we sell shirts, we take any money and put it towards that, whether it's, if somebody had.
People had some embarrassing moments, so I like to bring it up that you do not have to.
The only things I'll have up here are actually.
Job with her child, and so they went and bought her job. So just so people can go how we.
Everything that's on your screen right now is what they're seeing is not.
That's not
Live stream, the live stream is the live stream that you're streaming.
So they see the ring.
Friendship.
They see the ring.
Now, like, around Wednesday, it's like, well, like, we're having a Wednesday, and I'll be wonderful people. I'm starting to
Second project.
I'm like, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You guys run too.
so we do like,
That's the.
so like, let's come down and say, we're
Yeah,
gonna.
6 months later, he goes.
We'll run.
That stuff's.
We'll run Sundays, like, bike paths with mile out
Thank
back from the dog parks.
No county parks to be.
And then like a training group there, we do 9 to 13 mile runs just around the
Maybe
city.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
There's.
Up to you, but you go up to the first thing we go up to. Like I said, we're at work, we go out to the trails, we hit every field, side trails, it's just, it's just.
Sure, it'll be fantastic. I worked with Jessie Powell, she's there.
We've had everybody that's not one person show up just to walk a mile or two, and Aaron has gotten to like a walking group from that they meet out into, they walk the bike path, they kind of encourage their people to come and.
So it's a.
Everybody that had encouraged to go back.
Everybody in that.
It's just that community aspect.
You don't have the capacity to be doing anything.
Let's see what we come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I really.
Like I said, it's not, we're really not saying it's a bad thing.
It's a
We're worried about
budget.
that.
I understand, that's really.
But with the UNESCO World Heritage Designation, tourism coming in, we gotta give them some reviews, we gotta get them some.
I like to think that we're in a position for
That's it,
this.
Mr. Merriman.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know where there's.
have you heard of Harvey Lewis? So he is the world record holder for backwards. So he's in the Guinness Book of World Records and he just created that record.
180 miles,
One
continuous stretch.
So he trains, but he comes down and he trains at Gracie Park. That's one of his favorite places. He actually joined the World Run one day and ran with it, like, and talks to the kids and stuff. Like, the World Run was like, he had a, 8-year-old, and there's like a.
Anybody passes on the trail.
Children. And so like, yeah, he's.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, so Harvey Lewis came down and raised us, we had weather and we were planting, Columbus, and comes down and comes through us, he does not. We bring people and bring them to stop off and say, Columbus is that, like, oh yeah, you guys have a place with the mountain. You know, we're like, yeah, I mean, it's, like you said, it's like, we understand what like, but the thing is, it's so sad.
I do want to leave you with one other thing. I know you're busy, I'm sorry, but it was about money. They were not putting Kansas City, they were going to get but the county is going to get a massive free labor force that doesn't give up.
The same thing with even with the runners, like our friends will grab their chainsaws and stuff and like they went up, it's like 50 trailers and stuff, like, you know, our friend District said he did that hay in this path in Tar Hollow. Just, and then you see comments come up on like all the trail systems. It's wonderful.
I'll let you keep piling it up.
Thank you to whoever did that.
The passion behind the volunteer force for this sort of thing is, I mean, it'll say for itself over time.
We will hope so. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
See you later.
Just think about all of this when that comes to pass.
Thank you. Pictures on that and refresh your whole memory on it. That's the things we've talked about.
How are you, buddy?
John's data processing is signed off on it, that's just the actual signature line that's in the budget for next year, we're waiting on grant awards.
You just see a signature, right?
Just your autograph before you go.
This is a motion to approve the endpoint.
I was up there. I didn't realize I wasn't sure. So that was kind of nice. I knew they were covering something, they knew they were bound, but I don't.
for voting on that award first quarter. I think it's in the budget.
See, I did want to ask you, the dog and kennel thing.
That's our goal.
We'll pass that up. Right, just,
In the year.
I'll scan that and get a copy for you.
Charlie, I need to talk to you about that bridge on Adena Road. I think I sent you an email a
Yeah.
long time ago along with your 10,000 other ones. I want you to put a new bridge there so we can expand it to 5. Does it? So that's who I need to talk to? Is it old?
So that would be a next year thing.
So there's no chance that's gonna be replaced anytime in the next.
Well, that's going to be, so we will have
Yeah.
something in there. That was the best way to say some properties down. Got away with it.
Aaron,
Some money.
let's talk about these deeds real quick.
Yes,
Yeah, we could, I'm not sure they're concerned about that.
This is one for Camp Sherman.
One for Camp Sherman and one for Ross County.
First deed is for Camp Sherman, and this is to sign the deed over to the Ross County Parks and Recreation.
So that 25.
What do you have?
It should be the Ross, it should say the Ross County Park District. Does it say?
No, Ross County Parks District.
Okay.
Well, I'm thinking.
Do you have plans for that? Are you talking to the veterans group?
That's a
We
surplus.
talked about, at Ross County Park or Camp Sherman? Yeah, well, we've talked about a lot of things. We have talked to David Robertson. I think he paid you guys a visit. He's got some good ideas. We have a capital grant on that we've had for 10 years probably. And,
6.
okay, I know it was before I knew anything about it, but, we have to have a plan for the entire park before we can have an archaeological survey done. And that's where we're at right now. We do, Colleen McCord, who's our park planner, has been working. We've tossed around some ideas, but we will definitely be laying in on that this year.
Miranda, will there have to be a level 1 archaeological dig since they already have 16? Okay, that's one question. It's on around $3,000 to $5,000.
That's what she usually charges. We have a lady out of Cincinnati. Since Ross County is the most historically significant county in Ohio, we hardly can turn over a spade of soil without having to have some kind of archaeological compliance.
Unless you're the CCIR.
Yeah, well, then you can work fast enough to cover it up. We're not quite that fast, so.
This is something we've been working on for, Aaron, how long? 4 years?
I think even before it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I'd like to talk to you about some ideas about Camp Sherman and fixing that place up out there.
That'd be super.
They'll put a wall up between the park and Freetown.
Well, we're gonna do something.
Somebody said they wanted the block wall 10 foot high,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't see Freetown from.
I think we can find something a little more aesthetically pleasing than a 10-foot tall block wall, but I think that would be to everyone's benefit, theirs and ours, if we had some kind of separation. We have, I suppose, some encroachment issues there that I have some thought on how we should handle. But
I know we talked about it one time, a long time ago, Miranda, I think maybe even before you became the director, of out of the 50,000 staggering trees that would be, act as a curtain or, coverage. And I'm not taking anything away from Camp Sherman, but there are places there, I'm not Camp Sherman, but the Frenchtown, there are places there that are somewhat unsightly, so.
Sure, and it'll keep people, if we have a defined border, it'll keep people out of their yards from getting over on things that they don't want to.
Keep them out of ours.
Well, that's
Yours.
That's gonna be a little more difficult, but yeah, if you guys, we have like 3 different draft plans of how we would like to use that space. We haven't really set on anything just yet. I think we're getting close to an idea, at least of how to start. So if you'd be interested in seeing that, we can certainly make that available. It's on the back of a cocktail napkin kind of now at that stage, but.
The next quick claim deed is something that we worked on probably longer than what we have with Camp Sherman, because we were looking to turn the park, Ross County Park, over to you. So this is the deed to do that. This is a park on East Pike.
So moved.
All in favor?
And we are actively working on plans. I found a guy, Udi, that said he might have an idea on how to drain that front field. It's not gonna be earthwork. It's probably gonna be like a dry well with a pump and maybe a little bit fairly inexpensive, cost though, if it'll actually help. But we're gonna do some work on that front parking lot immediately. A lot of those parking posts are rotten and need replaced. It's just looking really derelict from the road. And so we're gonna hit that first and then work on doing some improvements inside the park.
Those of them are signed.
Okay, we're gonna need a copy of those or a scan copy if you can even scan them into Aaron. I'm not sure if you can, however you prefer.
Just a second, you'll get them.
You too.
Girls, thank you, appreciate it.
Very much.
Charlie?
Good to see ya.
My understanding was we were supposed to get back together to decide how we're gonna go about escrowing the money to see the Charleston Pike Bridge go through. So that's a snapshot of what I was saving money for, which Jared can speak to how much money in the cash position I'm in. But you can see what that did to me. And we'll just take it from there. But that bottom line number that says total, not counting the escrow, those other numbers came up to 2.8 million. And I think that's about where I'm sitting at close to the end of the year on my cash position.
Yeah, it's 3.2 right now, so yeah, pretty close.
And that was my plans, and I came up with that number. So that's,
So this is the engineer's cash on hand. And we really were zeroed in about, first is so minor in relation. Essentially 3.2 million in cash on hand to close out this year. That's what the engineer's office is carrying into next year before it receives any 2025 revenues. Is that a fair summation of this? And so what we're talking about is 2.8 million in expected 2025 costs. That is more than 100% covered within existing resources. So I think it's fair to say that Charlie's office is flush right now, and it provides a lot of opportunities for whatever you guys want to negotiate, commissioners and engineers.
yeah.
Charlie, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think you're lucky you got me, and you had Don Carnes. We've never tapped in, we've been shut out of the general fund money for years, and that's not the way it should be. And I think you guys should put up the 2.175 million and let me operate my office. Maybe you'll get hit with, maybe they won't spend it, maybe they will.
Yeah, how you really feel?
Oh, my what?
How do you really feel?
Well, I'm just being blunt.
Charlie's a good negotiator.
You can make all the plans you want about bike trails and everything you want, but if these bridges start getting shut down, there'll be 3 new people in here next time long. There'll be a new person out there in the county engineer's office. You want to tick people off, that's a good way to tick them off. But I just think that, since I've been in, I've asked for 500,000 every year. We never got a dime, so that's 17 years, that's 8.5 million. Claudia said we should probably be asking for 2 to 3 for the agreement. And so that's where I'm at.
So you want to take care of Charleston Pike?
Yeah.
The agreement you're talking about is the many years ago, we discussed this. There was an agreement between the commissioners and the engineers.
My predecessor got this great, better or
How long has it been, Charlie, since this agreement has been adhered to?
Well, it wasn't adhered to it. They didn't have the public hearings. The commissioners just said, we're not gonna give you any more money. And Don was bitter, and that was, he said, well, you didn't even have any hearings. And they said, well, we can't be held to what another board of commissioners agrees to.
So this was adopted in 79, but never actually.
It couldn't pass, it failed. And the only way they failed it was putting the roads for the townships and the county engineer's office benefit, and then the people passed it. And here's another one, and this one actually was a good resolution, okay? Because County Water opened this county up, okay, to growth. But this last sentence here on this resolution puts me on the hook for $400,000 from the water line, Charleston Pike. It's all summed up in the last sentence.
Stoltz, McDowell and Tackett. Small time ago, Charlie,
Yeah,
1972. Don. This county hereby assumes the obligation of moving said water, Ross County Water Company water lines that are installed within the road right of way should any roadway be widened, relocated, or altered. Well, so Charlie, help me here real quick.
all right.
You're interested in us taking care of the Charleston Pike Bridge, am I correct about that?
Yeah, and I hope,
Instead of taking all the money from you.
yeah, because you may not cost you a dime.
I know it. It's happened before. The money sits in escrow and then all of a sudden we get the money back.
Mhm.
It happened on the, like we've said before, the 207 connector.
But as you can see, I planned for this, and then this came out of right field or left field.
Left.
And so, you know,
Gentlemen?
So you want $2.8 million?
2.1.
Well, let's call it 2.2. It's 2.17.
but Jim, I don't know if it'll be that or not. I mean,
Right.
it may be a third of that, or it may be 30% more than that. I don't know.
So if we could go into what we have carryover and use toward this.
Absolutely, you could. Yeah, I mean, you could choose to do that. You could choose, we've discussed the jail settlement escrow, that's transferable into the general fund. I mean, you have plenty of opportunity. As I said, I think this is just a matter of what the engineer and the commissioners want to negotiate.
I'm with you.
We have, how much money is in that jail fund? About a little bit over
3.6. And that's in escrow. And we have it in writing from the bond council, Brad and I do, that that's transferable into the general fund as a reimbursement of prior costs. So I think the way to do that would be by resolution, that you guys would say, we're moving this from escrow into the general fund to reimburse for prior costs.
So we could take that money.
So what you suggest?
You're gonna have to do it eventually.
Yeah.
So why not now would be my view, and if you have a way to provide for the escrow that Charlie's asking for without affecting any of the 2025 budget decisions that have been made, It's not something I have a problem with, and you still have 1.5 million left from that.
Because we can still leave that $1.5 million in escrow where we got it at now, can't we? We don't have to put the whole thing in.
That's right. You
In
can
the
do
general
that.
fund, we can still have that 1.5 still left over.
You can do that.
If we give Charlie the 2.2 or whatever it was.
I think that's right. We should check with our master compliance specialist here, but
Yeah, I mean, you could, I mean, at some point in time, you need to designate what you want to do with that money. We've kind of held it in escrow only because of, we didn't know until you decide, it stays there. But we had to report that money somewhere last year on the annual report. So we ended up pulling that in as kind of an extension of the general fund, as though it's available. But it could be used, as Jeff said, for this type of thing, pull back in reimbursed costs from the past for the jail, or paying off debt as well. So those are kind of the two options you have with that. But I think it's more liquid, of course, if you take it into the general fund and kind of reserve it there for use, because from the general fund, then you have a lot of options. Once you put it in a debt service fund, it's restricted there. So
What's in the Medicaid?
1.3 million, and that money
Is it growing at all?
I'm sorry?
Is it growing?
No, it's just sitting there. It's another reserve, so to speak, that we've used as an extension of the general fund to kind of balance the budget.
it earns interest. So I think it is.
That's
earning
my
interest.
question. It seemed like we received about 1.2 million. That was
It is-
back 8 years ago.
It is earning interest as part of the general fund cash pile that exists. The only problem with that is that, we have the Medicaid sales tax money plugged in as a revenue source already. So if you dedicate that, what you've done there is create a $1.3 million gap.
I'm just more curious to the growth of that money, because it wouldn't be enough for what Charlie needs anyway.
Yeah.
I think we take the jail money, 2.2 million of that jail money.
2.175.
2.2. 2.2.
For safety.
2.2 because we may not even use that money.
That's right.
We may not even, that money may not even be used. Or like Charlie said, it may be 30%, 50% more than what.
So that would be my.
That would be my suggestion.
That would be my,
I'm gonna be here today to ask you for money too, for the design concept, design construction documents for the courthouse.
and how much will that be?
It's,
That may be the Medicaid. Oh, we can't use the Medicaid.
No, you can. It
$578,500.
If you transfer the Medicaid transition money into a specific escrow, either for Charlie or to dedicate it for what Brad's talking about, it puts this budget out of balance.
Is there somewhere else we can go besides $1.3 million?
Well, I think the jail escrow money is the place to do it. Now, here's what I want to say.
Okay, then we've got enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got enough, we'll have enough
For Brad
for
and
Brad
Charlie.
and Charlie.
Yes.
Using the debt, that jail.
Whatever's left in that jail money, you've got a jail contract that's gonna start here soon. And we've got all that covered in grant money right now, but you never know if you're going to get a cost overrun or something in there too. So I wouldn't be in a hurry to spend that money yet till that jail project's done too.
Well, you'll know this job sells January 30th. Charleston Pike. So you'll have the bid results that day.
Now, just for clarification, Medicaid money you're talking about, is that the same thing as this piggyback sales tax, 79?
No.
What is that? What is that piggyback sales tax?
Well, I'm going to have to rely on Charlie to explain that, because that's an agreement that was made between the engineer and the commissioners.
I'm wondering what bucket that piggyback sales tax comes on. If we were to even consider this original agreement, so we don't have to have these kind of conversations going forward.
But isn't that money just in the general?
General fund, yeah, there's two portions of sales tax going in. There's a permissive, and then there was the additional. And so all of that money that you're referring to, the piggyback sales tax, is going in the general fund right now.
So this is just by these percentages for the different projects is a varying number year to year. It's not a standard amount every year.
No, that's correct. And I'll be honest, Jack, I don't know the legalities of that document at all.
Understood, but it's a continuous funding plan that gets us down the road farther with good bridges, good roads, and the county being taken care of.
Yeah, well, nothing's getting cheaper, okay?
That's for sure.
But
it's how much we can do and want to do every
year. Yeah, and,
I don't like slush funds.
yeah, no, I'm with you. And neither do I, and that's why I tried to get in the position I was in the last 2 to 3 years. I didn't sit and wait till this year. I couldn't come up with $3 million. I'm waiting until this year. But now, the Pliles Lane Bridge is critical. We gotta get it down the road. Maple Grove will have to be taken care of, and that'll be a 1.5 million. And, the last one that really concerns me is Dogtown, but,
Well, let's go back here for a second, Jeff. In the jail fund, we have 3.3, how much money in there?
3.6.
3.6.
Yeah.
So let's say we do 2.2, Charleston Pike Bridge.
Yeah.
Now let's, just for the sake of this, I'm gonna use my calculator, but you think how much,
550,000.
The design cost is $565,000. Reimbursables are $13,500. So you better cover both. That doesn't mean you're going to have that much reimbursement.
You have that, Jeff?
So the total cost is $578,500.
Let's just say 580,000.
That's still gonna leave in that account.
A good million.
5, 7, 3.
Close.
About $600,000.
820,000 left.
And that'll go toward anything else that we might need to pay for jail. Am I right about that, Brett?
Yes, whatever's left there.
800,000.
We can use that.
I can't imagine it's going to be even close to that.
Yeah. So,
Is that ARPA funds?
No, that's
What kind of deadline do we have to spend it?
there is no deadline on there, but we'll spend it all this year.
I think I would make the recommendation that that's the way we go. Now, we have to have a motion or a vote on that.
Well, so everybody's on the same page. What you're talking about, Dwight, is the 3.6 million in jail escrow minus 2.2 million to fund the Charleston Pike escrow, leaves 1.4 million. Minus 580,000 for what Brad's talking about for the jail, leaves 820,000.
Correct.
And then what's the idea for the 820,000?
Just because if there's a
If
cost
there's any
overrun.
overflow on the jail project.
Cost overrun.
So would the idea be just to leave that remaining 820 in escrow?
Yes.
Pending a future action?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, so I think based on what Brenda told us, Brad, is that the way to do this is probably a resolution
To move it all into general fund.
and just call it reimbursement for previous costs. And then you move it from the general fund to where it needs to go from there. Is that the way to do this?
Absolutely.
Kathy, we'll need a resolution for that. Correct.
You will, and so you want to move all but 820,000 into the general fund.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and move it all
in
to
the general fund.
That way we'll have it if Brad needs it for the overreach of the jail project, and then we
Okay.
won't have to worry about that accounting.
So why don't we do this? I'll follow up with an email to that Brenda. I think it's a good idea to have it in writing from her. Here's how we're doing this, and have her bless it.
Sound better, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm well, trying to answer Jack's question. I really never answered it. It's, and I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
We'll talk about this.
yeah, it's tough. This is Delaware County would be easy, but I understand Delaware County's got a lot of problems too. So maybe they got too much money. Now, it's amazing that we've got the striping now in 3 different locations throughout the county. But each year, the striping contract and the money it costs to stripe the newly paved roads is running about $350,000 a year. And it's just unbelievable what it costs. I can remember seeing that it was $100,000, 15 years ago. Just,
Happy Meal used to be pretty cheap too.
yeah. Concrete's $200 a yard, and it used to be.
Yeah.
75 or 80.
Yeah. Rate of change. So Jeff, you'll check with her?
I'm writing it right now, saying Brenda, following up on this, Ross commissioners intend to pass a resolution moving all remaining settlement proceeds from escrow into the general fund as reimbursement for prior general fund expenditures on the project. I'll just put does this work?
How's that prior reimbursement time?
As I said, would be prior.
Yeah, because this is money that you guys spent from the general fund as a result of the project going off the rails when the contract went belly up. And so you guys had to start spending from the general fund, and that's for the reimbursement. And I expect that she's gonna say, yes, that works, we're good to go. But that means it's probably something they're doing next week unless she's really quick if we do this today, right?
Oh, it's not gonna affect anything if we do it next week.
No,
Or the week.
because I think, Charlie, your deadline was January 13th.
We have to deliver to it on the 13th.
Okay. All right, we'll see what she says. So that means that jail settlement is spoken for, except for that remaining $820,000, and that just goes as carryover in the general fund into 25. Correct. So you've got another $820,000 to work with next year, however you choose.
And we can use that if we have a cost overrun.
Yes. From the debt.
And hopefully they'll know January 30th. Maybe it's 2.17.
2.2.
2.2 is maybe just 0.2. So
Charlie really is a hell of a negotiator.
Well, I tell you,
no,
I've had the opportunity to work with Charlie for 8 years. He never asked for anything.
Yeah, true.
Everything's taken care of.
Yep.
He runs a show out there and it's a good show.
Yep.
I think this is
it
the
is.
smart thing to do as commissioners for the incident.
Yeah, and I like the way things go, but this came out of nowhere. The district gave us an estimate, they approved an estimate by the consulting company, and the central office gets involved and throws this out there, and it's a hell of a curveball.
Well, the state, not only in this, but in education and everything else, likes to throw curveballs.
Yeah.
So, it looks like you've hit it pretty well.
Well,
It's going deep right for you.
yeah, and I think, I know you're going on to bigger and better things, but with Jim and Jack and David coming in, I mentioned to Jack last week, and I think you guys were in that meeting together with him. Maybe every 3 months we need to sit down, I'll show you guys where I'm at, and what good things are happening, and what bad things are happening, and move forward that way. Hopefully something like this doesn't happen for another 7 to 8 years, and after that, I'll move on to bigger and better things.
We sent out to Cozy, eating potato soup on Fridays.
Right.
I'm in a hurry for that.
Well, so the first 2 parts of the email I sent you over the weekend are taken care of in this. The third part, it seems you guys are wanting to give that Orca situation a little more consideration. No decisions on that for this budget. Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go ahead, sorry.
Any other questions, Charlie?
No,
You want another mayor?
That's okay.
no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's probably why I've never made a very good businessman. Good businessmen seem to be, that's part of their portfolio, but, yeah, the thing with Route Road, you guys just got to get hold of Jeff and find out where he stands. I told Phil earlier, I'm not an attorney, so I can't,
I thought we had it worked out.
well, we did until I was sitting there enjoying a cheeseburger and a Sprite at the Cherry Street Pub in Lancaster, and I get a call.
Well, I think it came to a mutual agreement right there. Everybody said we're good with this. And all of a sudden it changed.
Yeah,
I don't know how one person changes the mutual agreement.
I don't know either. I just sent the township a letter saying you need to make contact with the essentially prosecutor on this one line.
Okay. Well, I've talked to Jeff a little bit about this, but I'll talk to him a little bit more, but I think we'll go with 20 feet.
Like I say, I can't get to the bottom of if you remember right, I said if it was up to me, they'd bury the electric.
Yeah.
Well, now talking to the guy with AEP, he said, oh, we can't bury that electric. Oh, it said the electric's buried all over different places, but, okay, kind of concerned.
Well, Charlie, I don't think you'd ever talk to, I don't think you'd ever talk to the wrong person. I don't know why that would be.
Yeah.
South Central Power Commission buried.
Yeah.
They can talk to South Central talk to
Yeah, that's,
That's beyond my level of influence at either entity. You want to talk about certified territory law, or you want to see utilities pucker up, talk about certified.
I'd like to see the utilities pucker up and blow up, so that's what I would say.
Well, we've had water wars there between Ross County Water and the city. Those are two
I was
utilities.
going back up the Route Road or whatever it was out there.
That's
Crazy.
If we, that'd be a waste of trip for what we did to make a decision on, to not have a decision.
Yeah.
Anything else, Charlie?
No, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we're gonna do the bills and real quick, and then we'll get started. Bills for me are $104,291.66.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? And then now $20,493.13. Second, all in favor? Jeff? Jerry?
You just do something on this.
You guys ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
Good. We can approve that.
We're gonna do that in a little bit.
Okay. Give me my back.
Kathleen, you can't have they do the transfer going
Keep it.
later.
There's really not much left on this budget. I mean, you saw my email. We've already taken care of the outstanding things I had for you. We're at a point now where we're looking at 36.47 million in revenue versus 36.44 million in expenses. We're already balanced. That's after implementing what we talked about for the sheriff's budget last week. The judges ended up sending a revised request that we've entered. There's really not a lot to do with it. The only
Revised request up or down?
down, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they've trimmed their own budget. And so the only thing left that we haven't done, in these meetings, haven't done the deep dive on is the commissioner's own portion. But Jerry and I met with Jack last week. Jack?
David? You show that.
We got some direction from Jack on the way he would like to leave it for this meeting. The question is, how much do you guys want to do in this meeting, or do you just want to leave your requests as they are? Because you could pass this budget as is right now. Not right now, literally, we'd have to prepare it for you, but you could leave this as is and you could pass it next week. without any
Three
further
line
change.
items of capital expenditure allotments add up to just under $1 million.
Yeah, and I can show you those.
I told them just keep those as is for capital expenditure.
Kind of as a placeholder.
If it's good to go, it's good to go.
Okay.
Jim, you all right with that?
I don't have a problem with it. As long as we're balanced, I'm good.
You're balanced.
Have you had any discussions with Sheriff? Yeah.
I've not. I've been leaving that to you guys, and I'd be happy to be part of it, but I think that should be a commissioner.
Prepare the women and children.
What's that?
Prepare the women and children.
I really think when you lay it out, it's hard to have an issue with what we've done on that, because he's got the carryover. He's had the carryover for several years. The real question is, that's an agency that's half of the county's budget. And if we're in a mode of trimming requests to balance a budget everywhere else,
You need to get trimmed up too.
yeah, and I think that's fair. And I think the commissioners have demonstrated consistently that where there's an actual need, you guys will fund it. But what I really like about the approach we've taken to this budget is that it puts you guys in the position of knowing exactly what's going on when problems arise, and you can address them as they come up.
Jeff, after this is taken care of, does he have a remaining carryover now?
No, this budget as it is will produce a zeroed out balance at the end of next year.
Okay.
And that is a departure from the way things have been done the last 10 years or so, maybe 15 or 20, I don't know.
30 maybe.
But it's the approach we take for the auditor's office and the treasurer's office and the commissioners. I just don't know why we would treat the sheriff's office differently, because it is a general fund funded county office.
I think everything had a carryover, but not as substantial as what the sheriff's office carryover is.
Yeah.
I mean, we said the other day, that's the reason we always left it for the last item to deal with, is because we knew by getting to the sheriff's budget, we could cut to get the balance of the budget, so.
But looking line item by line item, he always had the majority of his carryover wages because he was always understaffed.
Correct.
And he budgeted for full staff. Now he's full staff. So I think it's gonna be an easier discussion with George why he doesn't have that carryover to begin with, because he used money this year being fully staffed all year.
Yeah.
And then we've given him leeway in the historic accounts where he had carryover by just putting that at face value for projected expenses plus 5%. So I think it's more than fair for George, and it eliminates that use it or lose it mentality of spending.
I think it's also good with the negotiations next year is that the union can't go in and say, oh my God, look, you've got all this money here.
And that's one of the things they would do. They would look at it and say, hey, George is carrying over $3 million carryover. We'd like to have a piece of that pie.
Yeah.
That $3 million he carries over. We try to explain to them that even though that's a carryover, that's part of the general fund, so you may not get a carryover. Only thing that I'm concerned about now is we give George what he wants, and he has that $1.3 million carryover. And we come next year, and he has no carryover, and he asks for $17 million.
Well, it's just like any other county office. We look at the ask, we look at the need.
Right.
Say we're gonna fund what you need.
But now we don't have that carryover to give him back.
But we spent less money.
Yeah.
The general fund carryover.
I mean, the whole point, I think, is to keep control of that spending side of it. And to me, it seems the best way to do that is to appropriate to need. And when you start to exceed need, you're having a very specific conversation about why. And if I was a commissioner, that's what I would want. And that's what I, as the auditor, want for you guys.
But Jeff, you understand, you have to understand where George is coming from.
I do.
He has this drive never to have to ask the commissioners for money. So he feels he has this cushion that he doesn't have to do that. And we've told him, I know for 8 years, if you need it, all you have to do is come back and ask for it. But he has pride and he believes in the way he budgets. It saves him having to come back here and say, oh, I need another 200 for the Zerker. You know, the Zerker, our contract, we're gonna have to do this. I understand what the philosophy that you have, which your philosophy and my philosophy is pretty much the same, because after years of budgeting at Dakota, I wanted to make sure that when I started to allocate money, if I was giving it to different departments, that they were getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 more than what they actually needed.
Yeah.
And then if they needed it, all they had to do is put in an appropriation and got the money. So, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just know that you know how George is and how he thinks. And that's one of the things that he does not have to come back and ask us. And that's important to him. And now he'll feel like, I didn't budget right, so I have to come back and ask for this, which he has budgeted right.
Yeah.
He just hasn't seen that yet.
That's right. Yeah. No, I think this furthers the idea of partnership and cooperation among all of the offices, and I think that's good. Yeah. So you guys are budgeted or are balanced as of right now. I do want to show you those capital lines that we discussed with Jack.
Do you have the keys and cylinders included in that 25 budget for the sheriff? Or is that something separate?
Say that again
The
now.
keys and locks, cylinders? Is that part of that, Jeff?
Is that part of that?
We haven't gotten any requests on that. What we have in the system is the requests that have been made and then the trimming that's taking place. So I would have to refer that to the sheriff's office, unless he's talked to you guys about it.
They have no cost estimate yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we met with them last week to talk about that grant application for that log stuff. So once they get something together that we can work off of that says, here's how much money we need, and we think it's going to be right around $250,000. So Kim was here, sheriff and his folks were here, I was here, so we're starting on that. The one thing that they are going to come back and ask for, because I don't think it's in the budget, is, remember they came and said they wanted to do the perimeter doors, and you guys said, go ahead and do that.
Right.
Well, they didn't do it, and they didn't have a PO for it, so there's no way to carry that money over. So they're going to have to come back and say, hey, we're going to need whatever that, and I don't remember what that number was. They're going to come back once they have a firm number and say, you guys told us we could go ahead and do this. We don't need that money.
And they can do an appropriation.
Yeah.
Next year.
That's actually a prime example of what I'm talking about, is that if we don't have a cost, how are we supposed to project it, number one? But number two, once we do have a cost, commissioners have the opportunity to address it or ask follow-up questions that are needed, if that's the case. So,
Or the mentality is, I got $1.3 million carryover, don't have to worry about it.
right, 100%. Okay, so the lines we're talking about for the commissioner's capital appropriations are these here. Land and buildings, capital improvements, and capital improvements from sales tax revenue. And I think that's what we were just discussing with Charlie, is that sales tax revenue is just coming into the general fund and is being appropriated by the commissioners for the purpose of capital improvements. But that's just kind of a general concept, I guess. But across those three lines, the commissioners have 960 or so thousand allocated. Conversation Jerry and I had with Jack this week was, do you want to get specific here for the purpose of this budget, or do you want to hold that in place for the specific conversation in the future?
We don't have enough data, accumulated to do a priority list to put it in a kind of batting order.
Right.
And we got multi-year projects, so.
Right.
Not yet.
I would say hold off on that.
Well, if that's the case, as I said, this is passable really as is. The one thing Jerry and I talked about this morning is that we need to update the debt schedule. We'll have that for you in time for Monday.
But that's gonna end up being close to $300,000 to the good. So the $24,000 surplus you saw there, whatever it was, it's gonna be more like 320,000. So this budget is balanced and then some, even with a property tax cut. So I think we can all feel pretty good about this.
And the 21 doors on the jail, Paul said it was gonna be over 200,000.
Yeah. On which doors?
On the exterior doors, the 21 exterior doors.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah,
I don't think.
That's what he said, that's what I got in my notes.
Yeah, I don't think that's right. That's a lot of money for legal doors.
He budgets,
When he's talking.
he budgets the way the sheriff does.
When he's talking, you're talking $250,000 for all the other locks inside the building. That number's way high.
Change the cylinders out, it'll have a cost of over $200,000. That's what I got in my notes.
Yeah, he may have been talking about
The whole thing.
whole
That
building.
was about the 21 exterior.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry, how you been?
Very well.
Jeff, we're good.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of our office preparing this for you for next week. And I'll be out of town Monday, so I won't be here. But of course, we'll have it ready for you. And I don't think there are gonna be.
We may not have been here next Monday because we have 52 meetings in.
Well, still gotta pass a budget.
We can do that today.
Oh, well, so Dave and I actually talked about that over the weekend. Do we have to prepare a physical packet for them to look at?
I think there's actually a number. You not only have to pass the general fund, but all the other budgets as well.
There's 2 forms that we sign off on.
Right. So it's all the other funds now that we're still trying to finalize. So
We'll be here
we'll have those
Monday.
money. Plus, the other thing we're working on this week is
Merry Christmas.
what we call de-appropriating funds that are, at the end of every year, the state requires us to be in compliance with state law. So one of those things that we have to do, we do this time every year, we look at any funds, the appropriations of a fund cannot exceed what you carried over plus what you actually received. So actual resources have to be weighed against what you appropriated and operated within during the year. So what we have to do is bring those appropriations in line with what you actually carried over in a fund and what you actually received. You can't appropriate more than that. Throughout the year, we operate just on estimates. Now we no longer have just estimates, we have the actual numbers. So we do the de-appropriations in certain funds where they may still be high. And so those are actions that you'll take next Monday. So that's kind of another reason. We've always waited on those because of when we cut off the spending.
I'd like you to come back up again next Monday, Jerry, and explain that again.
All right, I'll see if I can remember to explain the same.
I'm kidding, yeah. I'd like to see you up here next Monday though.
I will be here. He will not be.
Yeah.
He'll be out of town, so I will be up here next week.
And those are not like policy or funding decisions. It's really kind of technical management.
Technically, yeah,
budgets,
it's
right?
just revised code. We have to remain in compliance with
Every
revised
year,
code.
there's 2 things we sign off on.
It's just like week to week, and I wish they would change that law for counties where you have all the transfers coming in here week to week from departments where we are moving money between one budget line item to another so that it is not overspent. We have to do that because of state law. In schools, you mentioned schools, right? They can operate within the fund as long as they do not exceed within the fund. Their line items can be positive or negative. We cannot do that as a county, so that's why we are shuffling money around so that each department is in compliance with their budget every week or month to month.
You'd be amazed how many schools on the 5-year forecast are going south. And it's a frantic right now, people calling saying, what do we do? Then you have to do an analysis, you have to go and do an action. And the question is attrition. You're gonna you have to trim.
And that's the same thing I was thinking, I'm used to doing the school board thing where you have to balance that budget in a 5-year forecast, 5 years out. So that's what I was thinking about. If George has always carried $3 million over, and he has a budget of $14 million, we just give him that $3 million back to get him to that 14, even though we only have 11 to give to him. I'm just thinking, that's what I was thinking.
But schools are a moving target.
All
That 5-year forecast, it's a guesstimation.
Well, so why are they, is it a matter of their projections falling off a cliff, or are they projecting higher costs?
Well, what's happening with these public education institutions, Jeff, is they're losing kids.
Yeah.
They're going to community schools, they're going to Christian schools, they're going to non-publics.
So that's a revenue thing, right?
That's what, yeah, but this year I had 450 students, I'm just throwing out a number. And I've got 5 years to do my forecast on. I'm thinking, well, we'll have growth, we'll have to have growth. And all of a sudden the number goes to 425 and then 410. I don't have growth anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting paid per student. I'm not on a cap. A cap would be a guarantee. And that's usually St. Teresa's on the cap because they've got a guarantee because their growth is not exponentially growing and they're not taking off. And now they're concerned about that growth. If there's development, because now all of a sudden, what do I do when I get more kids and I'm not getting funded for those extra kids?
Right.
And that's a procedure to come off the cap. So it has its pros and cons.
Right. So it presents a challenge.
It's great balancing, it's great, but the school also has a tightrope they have to walk too. There might be some leeway in there that they can do, but it's the United States government can't balance a budget. But they're requiring everybody else to balance a budget.
Required everybody else, it's like the state of Ohio has to balance a budget, but they don't go 5 years out. And they make schools go 5 years out.
Yeah. Well, appreciate all the time you put in this.
Thank you, guys.
Both of you. It's,
I think this is a great budget. I really believe that, and I am proud of it. So thank you.
well, we'll get it approved on Monday and, safe travels to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
To all of you.
Next week, my birthday.
Come in on Booty's birthday.
That's your birthday?
December 31st.
Happy birthday.
I lost a long time ago.
He got
Look to office for your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks.
I lost my birthday a long time ago. It's one of these days where if you're born around Christmas, you only get half Christmas gifts and everyone's birthday.
Yeah.
Then my youngest son, he born on the same day I was, December 31st.
Really?
So I really lost my birthday.
My daughter was born the same day as my Kathy, exactly 50 years apart. Bill was born on the 27th of December, my younger brother. Josh was born on 13th of December. Jake was born on the 13th. Josh was born on the 30th. Trying to figure out, Jake must have been warm. Yeah.
Oh, so those were all your kids or all your?
I had two daughters, they were born June the 15th and the 17th. My other sons were born in December, so it was kind of, it's all in timing. Transfer of funds between accounts, Ross County from the auditor to the general funds. No increase in appropriations, transfer of funds to consolidate its supplies for year end, beginning 2025. Printing needs, $4,879.98.
So, second.
All in favor? Aye. This is from the auditor from general funds. No appropriation increase, transferred funds from year-end balance, $55.33.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This is from Ross County appropriation of funds from the Ross County Building Department from the general funds to pay plan examiner remainder of 2024, $5,500.
So, second.
All in favor? Aye. Request for appropriation of funds for Ross County Building Department from general funds for the month of December to pay the city of Chillicothe to pay zoning fees, $1,000.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This is from the auditor, from general funds for appropriations, increase appropriations to cover prior year carryover POs that were canceled, and set up funds for current carryover POs, $45,450.
So,
Second.
All in favor? Remember, if we make any changes in here, we'll screw up the budget. This is appropriations for the probate court from indigent guardianship, increase appropriations to pay invoices for guardianship services, $6,906.25.
So moved.
second.
All in favor? Request for transfer of funds between accounts from Ross County, from the auditor, from the general funds. No increase in appropriations, transfer of funds, consolidate into supplies for year end. That's a repeat. I'm sure it is. There's another repeat, 5533. Transfer of funds between accounts, Ross County. This is from the Ross County Clerk of Courts to general. Transfer appropriations to cover costs of salaries, benefits, and supplies. Postage to salaries, travel to salaries, contract services to salaries, travel to Medicare, contract services to supplies, and other supplies, other expenses to supplies for $1,512.59.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This transfer between accounts from the Ross County Clerk of Courts to general, group insurance, transfer appropriations to cover costs of supplies, $1,964.74.
So,
Second.
All in favor? Transfer of funds from the auditor to general, cover expenses from final pay of year, $212.32.
second.
All in favor? This is dog and kennel from auditor to cover expenses for final pay of the year, $1,889.24.
So,
Second.
All in favor? Request to transfer between accounts from the auditor from litter control, cover expenses for final pay of the year, $20.32.
second.
All in favor? This is transfer accounts, between accounts from the auditor, the RE assessments, transfer amount appropriation to cost, cover the cost of Medicare charge for the year, $3.81.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, Jack made the move on that one. This is transfer between accounts from the auditor to remediation, from workers' comp to salaries, 12 cents.
So moved.
That's the smallest one I've heard yet.
You seconded that, Jack?
I'm second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
This is a transfer from the auditor to children's services. This is for the rollback distribution for children's services, $938.15.
So moved.
All in favor? It's from auditor, from the sheriff's fund to cover expenses for final year pay, $161.60.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Transfer of funds to reimburse computer legal research funds from the Title IV-E and general funds for portion of the LexisNexis invoice, $1,468.80.
So,
Second.
All in favor? This is for Ross County Shoemaker Hangar lease agreement with Bruce Cook. How much we charging again?
$135.
$135. I would make the recommendation that next year, the commissioners look at increasing the amount of the hangar lease. This is for, Bruce Cook for. Second. All in favor?
They're all filled now, right?
We got one we're working on. That one was, one we found that had no plan in it. And he, when we sent those letters out originally, his got returned, so we had the wrong address. Yeah, he found the address and sent it to him. He turned his keys in, so they went down. I think there's only one left that we're still arguing about.
I think these are duplicates. I'll put them on the back, so if you want to go through there and make sure that the numbers are just too close.
We've got Bob Blue that his hangar, after he passed away, was paid in full through the end of this year.
He does.
And I don't know if he's gotten rid of that hangar
Forgotten.
plan.
Brad? Okay,
Remember, we don't have to approve the street sets.
We're going to.
Okay, I'll
Just be patient.
you better stop
Just
yelling.
be patient.
you missed a spot last week.
David, do you want a copy of these
Final
rates?
report on the airport.
Just see if you follow along.
Thank you. Signed all the rest, but you didn't sign.
You have to, you know my signature.
Yeah, I'm not, can't do it though. That's it. If you do that, that's all I can send out. These are two contracts. This is for our HVAC system that they've overseen for years. That price has not raised a bit since last year. Now, they also used to do our preventative maintenance. We used to do it through them. They ended up hiring them to do the work and added $2,000 onto it. So we cut them out.
We started again.
We hired our own and so they dropped the price $2,000 from what it was.
Dynamics Energy Services through Verigy, $1,800 a month. Fixed price, $21,600.
I'm sure that's in our budget, all that's in our budget already.
So moved.
All in favor? And the preventive maintenance agreement.
That's with Spear Mechanical.
$29,308 per year, $7,327 invoice for tax bills. So,
Second.
all in favor?
That preventive maintenance is for the jail. Pretty much. They do other stuff for us, but the majority of it goes to the jail.
John be pretty well good by now,
Should be.
but it ain't gonna, it's not gonna be.
Okay, this is that amendment for the sewer project with Burgess and Maple that we've been holding off on, and I finally got Jeff to sign it this morning. So, I need your signature there. Remember this?
We already approved this, didn't we?
You didn't approve it. Kathy gave it to you once and I pulled it back off because I wanted to make sure Jeff looked at it and the attorneys were still looking at it, so.
You didn't make any changes on it?
No changes.
So,
Second.
all in favor?
Our guys made some changes on it, but Jeff did. This is the agreement for the jail project with Sutherland.
This for the walls.
Yep.
Jeff already looked to do that.
Yep. They try not to bring those in here, but he today he said he'd rather I bring them over there printed out instead of sending them to him in email, because he says he gets so many emails and sometimes he just forgets about them because he's had these for a while.
This is inter-contract agreement with Sutherland. They're doing the walls.
They're doing the wall.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
They'll be the general contractor, I think, Gary Timmons here. What is it, M&M Fabrication out there, I think he's gonna end up getting the work. He did the infirmary, and they contracted with him to be a sub.
Because I see where, Rabbit.
Yeah.
He had a big ideals and all that stuff like that, but I haven't seen him moving any dirt since he moved the water line.
Is that right? All right, so here's the contract for Caldwell to do the design work for courthouse rep. But you already signed this. But I just want to make sure if you did today, I can go down there and have Jeff sign this for that amount of money, is what we told you this morning.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna do a resolution, is that what you're gonna do to move
Next Monday.
next Monday?
He said away to this lady and make sure that it was okay on the.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and have him sign this then, so I can get this moving, and they can get their stuff going.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I think that's all I got.
Kathy, you have anything?
No.
Brad, you got, that's it.
That's it for me for now.
Party's over.
Party's over.
So was it cold?
No, actually, the Michigan game, I got cold. Colder than I've been in a long time. And I said I wasn't doing that again, so I made sure I wore extra clothes. I said I wore a ski suit. You know, I used to snow ski, so I wore that, cut the wind, never got cold a bit. We had lots of food, lots of people there. Too many volunteers. It was bad.
Did they ever make the inside of the stadium all red? When you can see, I saw the drone thing that they did, the far end.
Yeah.
But sometimes they will light in. It just looks like.
They've got those big boards all the way around there.
Yeah, but the whole, one time I saw, they took a picture with the drone, that whole, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's beautiful.
Well, when they did something I'd never seen before, in the rotunda there where all the buckeye leaves are, they were shining stuff on that. All kinds of words and turning it red. And then on the inside, I think when they turn those big boards on all red, it lights the whole stadium up red inside.
It looked different than during the game.
Did it really?
The field was red, everything was red. Everything.
I don't know.
Yeah. They showed that
Did
on
you
the
see it
news.
before or after the game or during the game?
I think it's before anybody ever got to the stadium.
Oh, okay.
This was like the day before.
Oh, okay.
Before the game, yeah.
You know, like when you see these, when they do these, they'll turn on the football or the field, the baseball field lights and the track lights and have everything lit up so they can see. It kind of shows off the campus.
Yeah.
But that was, I told Bill, I said, gee, he graduated there in 19, and he said they've really changed a lot at the shoe since he left.
It was packed. I think they had 102,000 or something in there.
I watched that Penn State game. I looked up in that far right-hand corner. I said, look, that SMU people didn't come. One quarter was a flare up in the top. You'd have to have oxygen tanks up there. But that was up there when you're up there. Yeah, oh my God. I mean, this is Penn State in the corners, way up in the corner. You can see that whole section was just empty, nobody. And SMU, I think SMU proved the fact, along with maybe Indiana, they didn't need to be in that 12-team playoff.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a different way to pick teams.
Tennessee looked like, is it because Tennessee running back was hurt? What would? It was one of the greatest things. One of the greatest.
I don't think that would help any.
We're a superior team and we just beat them down like we should have.
I think we have a lot to prove.
We did.
One boy said he couldn't go into Roosters without people accosting him because of, that was 33, so, the linebacker. But,
Sawyer?
yeah, when I was coaching, I had a boy on my team, they called Twitch. His name was Ricky Bowles. And the reason they called him Twitch is because he hit you so hard, you twitch after him. The kids gotta come up. Well, he hit somebody one time, he came over to the sideline, I was looking at him, I said, something is wrong with him. And his face mask had bound the shape of the helmet. The helmet was all out of whack. A quarterback, and that first time he tried to pick up that first down, put a 6-inch crack in his helmet. Those helmets aren't made to be cracked. I thought maybe somebody would try to get him on targeting.
It was a great game to be there. I mean, it really was. I wish I was there. The excitement was really tuned up like I
Were you there?
never seen it.
I could have gone and I didn't.
You probably stayed at home, watched it on your 80-inch TV, and it was nice and warm, and
Not quite 80 inches, but yeah, I was warm.
you could walk down to the refrigerator, get whatever you wanted, didn't
I
have to
didn't
pay
have to spend $11 for a beer.
I got a text like that from one of the guys in this room. Said the same thing. I'm sitting home, hope you're not freezing out there.
Well, I told you that the night before. I said, you better dress warm.
I did. I was fine. And you know, we had tents with, we had 2 big heaters in there. Everybody's
It's not
not,
bad if you're tailgating, you got heater, even though you're in stadium, you dress warm.
you're fine.
I wear my Carhartt did, so.
Yeah,
Function over fashion.
exactly.
Enough about Ohio State. If you are done, Brad, I'm gonna ask you and Kathy to leave for a little bit. David, I'd like you to stay.
Okay.
And Kevin, you can ask your questions and then you can leave.
I was just interested in the exit interview.
Honestly, I've been kicked
You're
out
taking
of
a
better
better off.
places than this, but not lately.
An exit interview with you.
All I need to say is, Kevin, I've loved the 8 years that I've been here. I've loved the people I've worked with. The community of Ross County is home to me. I love this place.
Can you say that on tape?
I've already said it. You're a good enough writer, you can put that down.
And you guys are meeting next Monday
We will meet next Monday.
and pass the budget?
We'll pass the budget next Monday.
All right, and item number 2, I was invited to get some cookies.
Have at it.
I was told they were chocolate chip.
That's fruit.
Those are apples.
Those are healthy. There's cookies here too.
I hear though, if you take one of these a day, you don't have to get chocolate.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that's not true. Because I eat one a day.
I was down this weekend. I think I had the commissioner's crap that went, the commissioner's crap.
You must be young enough to come out as fast because it's been on me.
I had it throughout the week, but it really took me out on the weekend. Yesterday was real bad. Then I remember I had it from the last time I was sick. Thanks, gonna grab me a Z-Pack I never took. So I dug that thing out.
When is the,
31st at noon.
Correct.
31st at noon.
Judge Akers.
all right, thank you.
Everybody else get back 4 weeks?
No.
Okay.
Where'd they come from?
I don't know, they were sitting on my desk.
Kathy Dunn?
Kathy Dunn. Bag full of mints.
Okay.
Should give in.
She gave me a whole bag.
I am good with the 3% across the board. I know we've talked, I think when we were coming back from Route Road about Brad. And you said something about Kathy. Now, this is the opportunity if we're gonna make any changes on their salaries to do it now. I'll tell you, David, and Jack and Jim will be the first one to tell you. If Brad wasn't here, this wouldn't be a one-day job for you. You'd be here every day, 8 hours, and still not be able to dig out from all the crap that he's had to take care of.
Yeah.
Took care of the jail, he's taking care of the new sewer project. He's helping with the money we received from the capital budget with the Payne Stadium.
Are we still on?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Camera's on.
I don't want to talk about everybody's raises. What are you on? What's that mean?
That's the camera.
Let me ask Brad, he might know.
Yeah, that's right.
To
Because I don't think we can.
underpin your point here about that.
I'm with you. I think I hope these have coconut.
I don't believe it is.
I think when Jeff got on there, it might have.
I think so too.
That light is up on by the camera. I think Andy had said that did they turn the computer off?
Turn the TV off on that.
Yeah, we
He's
have
got a
one
green
guy.
light, that's got a green light.
This was plugged into his
When
computer.
Jeff unplugged that from his computer, it went out just like that.
I think the camera's probably still on.
Gotta keep my throat straight. Does that have coconut in it?
No, there's.
Yeah, Andy, come up, make sure.
We good?
He said he thinks it's still on. There's one way we can check.
Did you get chocolate on?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
Hold us up to that.
Jeff had his computer plugged in, or I pulled that cord out, but I can't get it to do anything, both of them are on.
Maybe we're off.
Thanks. He's on his way, guys.
Oh, that was 3 weeks ago. Says we're live though. I just can't figure out where to see it. Oh, yep.
We're off or we're on?
We're on.
So we need a motion to go into executive session.
To talk about.
Yeah,
Sunshine out.
under personnel.
Well, and there's a difference between executive session and being live on the internet.
I'll leave this one down.
You got one, okay, Andy.
There we
Over,
go. We are still broadcasting, we're just not.
Yes, exactly.
Well, we're going to, don't let me forget, I gotta get this to Kathy. We're going to executive session at 11:20.
Cool.
So we're not in, right?
You are broadcasting live right now. Do you have any business after executive session today?
No,
We can just end the stream whenever you're ready to end it.
in the stream.
You got it.
Darn, there are cookies over here by the mess too.
Look, I'm not gonna do it.
See here. Make it acceptable. We're just making it acceptable. End stream.